So uncivilized.
Greetings and welcome to the 1-6 Scale Man. Proudly presents another episode of, you know what it is, man, Uncivilized Scoundrel. I'm your host, Leo Rockwell. For the 1-6 Scale Man YouTube channel, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification so you're always up to date as to what we got going on over here on the channel. And man, listen, it's going to be an incredible show tonight because, again, it's just like, yo, the team is back. Like, the team is back, and we're going to have some great discussions here this evening. But you know what? We got to get the show started out. If you've seen Andor, then that's one of the reasons why you were here, because there's a lot to talk about in that particular space. I am so heartbroken that next week is the last 3 episodes, man, because this is some of the greatest Star Wars that I have seen on television ever. Like, literally ever. It's a fantastic show. All the haters and the skepticism that, you know, people may have had, if you haven't watched it, I don't want to hear none of it because it's incredible. I mean, I've watched each episode at least from since Tuesday. I think I've watched each episode like 6 times. And the reason why I say that is because, again, if you have Disney Plus, and keep in mind that Disney Plus now has a channel that actually streams nothing but Star Wars content all day long. So again, if you have it, then you get a chance to watch it. So yes, I had it in the background. I was working and all that good stuff. I'm telling you, incredible show, but we're going to talk about that tonight, among other things. But first and foremost, ladies first. Ladies first. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, I mean, back from her excursions over there in Japan, where they ran out of noodles and rice, and she was hungry, man. Don't ever run out of noodles and rice when it comes to Cece, man. I'm just letting y'all know that right now, because you know what I mean? You might not like her when you don't want to see her turn green and get angry, man. So you already know what it is. Cece is in the building. What is going on with you? Welcome back to Uncivilized Scoundrels. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, you won't like me when I'm hangry. It's not a good look.
Definitely so glad to have you here. You got that? You are you over the celebration crud that you came back with a little bit?
A little. Honestly, I think I'm still not on a decent sleep schedule with the time difference, but I mean, it was worth it. But yeah, back to reality, and I came back just in time for Andor, so it was perfect timing.
Yeah, definitely. But so glad to see you back. It's and especially to discuss this because it's incredible. So good to have you here as always. Next up, come on, man. You already know who it is. Arum is in the building. We got Rita with us. What is going on? Always dressed for the occasion as well. So you know what I mean? So happy to see that.
It's wonderful to be here. And you guys know I always love being here with all of you talking about Star Wars.
Yeah, definitely. So good to have you here. Um, our guy. What anyway, we'll talk about it in just a second because that shit shocked me. Next up, you already know what it is, man. My therapist. I had to get my therapist on the show. I pay him not only to just be my therapist, but then also talk about the things I love, man. What's going on with you, Press X? What's going down, brother?
Well, long live the Empire. No, screw them. Screw them. Oh my gosh. Talk about recontextualizing the original like trilogy and A New Hope and all that and putting it in a new light. My mind. And last night, or it was actually Tuesday night, I was sitting there. I'm like, I'm not crying. You're crying. What was that? That was everything. That was wild. The buildup, the tension, and we're not done yet.
Nah.
We have 3 more episodes. It felt like a finale. It wasn't a finale.
Yeah.
So just thinking of where we can go from here, I can't wait. I just can't wait. And I can't wait to break down just what happened, because the feels were there. Wow. I've never seen anything quite like it from Star Wars, but I want to see more of it.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna be sad times after next week, man. It's gonna be a slow build, and I just want to take my time and just just take it all in. Next up, fresh off the brothels of Coruscant, he runs two. It's called Vinny's Vindication. We got Vincent Dunn all right, in the building, bro.
We are the gore. Nobody wants to hear me sing, but oh my god, yo,
Bruh. Bruh.
yeah. Man, get the Kleenex, man. I don't. There's very few times I've ever seen anything so powerful. I don't even know these people. I have no connection to them. I don't really care, but it doesn't matter. Like, you put yourself in their shoes. I can't wait to talk about these 3 episodes and everything else that we got going on with Star Wars talk. I'm dead tired. This rain's been kicking my ass at work. I've been dancing around the rain trying to get all these jobs done. Prep for this con next week. So I'm running on fumes. But when it comes to Star Wars and it comes to Andor, I got my 15th wind and I'm ready to get in and talk some Star Wars. So I'm hyped for the show.
Bro, I mean, yeah, I wasn't ready. I'm gonna tell all y'all, I was not. I was not. I wasn't ready. And here's the thing: we got warned that 7, 8, 9 would be this way. Like they were warned. And here's the thing: 7. I was happy just to see Yavin. You know what I mean? Like I was just happy to see that. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, this is a build up. We're going somewhere with this because they're showing us, this opening scene, and you get a chance to see the red squad, the gold squad, the blue squad. You get a chance to see so much representation in just a few different shots. There was so much that was there just to kind of look at it. And bro, like I wasn't ready, and I wasn't ready for the heartbreak that was going to end up happening, not just in episode 8, but in episode 9.
Yeah.
The end of that just broke me, bro, because I'm like, oh, but it's hope, but then it's sadness because you know what's to come, bro. It's crazy. But man, okay, so I said we were going to talk about some other topics, but we're here now. We're here now. And I can almost feel CC like, can we talk about this now? Can we talk about this now? We're here now. Listen, before we jump into this real quick, though, I got to say what up to the chat, but also say what's up to the places, again, where we get artistry, if we get prints, anything that you're actually looking for. So first and foremost, we're going to do a little bit something different. We're going to start with Vincent Dunn art. Now, again, if you haven't already checked out his pieces, you got to go over there to his site. Again, Vincent Dunn art. If you go to Instagram, once you log on to Instagram, go into, you can go to his profile. You can see the link to his store. This is Vincent Dunn art, all of his work, some original prints. He does, again, I don't want to do all the selling points because I'm selling. You can do it probably yourself. He does do commission work and stuff like that. So again, hit him up. He'll definitely take care of you, Vin. You want to let people know what else you got going on, man?
Yeah, you can get a link to the site through my IG, and it's categorized. So if you're looking for specifically Star Wars or Marvel or whatever, you can check on a direct link to that. At all times, my regular prints are buy 2 get 1 free, and there's like 80, 100 different things on there, plus and then canvas prints, original prints, all that good stuff. And if there's something you don't see, just reach out. I could take care of you with commissions as well. So lots of stuff on there. New stuff coming all the time. Getting new prints ready for new pieces ready for the Fan Expo Philly coming up next weekend. So I'm excited for that. And always new stuff coming to the site. I try to always keep it fresh and have different stuff and keep everything interesting. So feel free to peruse at your leisure. Appreciate the shout out.
Definitely. Again, the link is on the Instagram page. You just click on it, and there's 2 links. one, click on after 12, but the other one you can click on this all day
Late
long.
night.
I'm clicking on it. It's just taking me to an OnlyFans. Yes, I mean, I'm signing up. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna sign up, but still, you know. Okay.
Yeah, when I clicked on it, it asked for my date of birth first, which was weird.
Mother's maiden name.
I don't
Why
make
does it
the
ask for
rules.
my mother's maiden name? The street I grew up on. What the heck? Childhood pet. All right. Yeah. Well,
Definitely any bump if you're looking for some original prints. Also, got to give a shout out to our guy Ray over there at Underground Figures. If you're looking for the latest and greatest, he got it. No NRD shipping and handling is free. I mean, not free, but reasonable. Sign up for that newsletter so you're always up to date as to when your figure is going to be arriving or a new figure is being previewed. Also, make sure you create yourself an account because you never know when he might have deals on free shipping as well as discounts on the figure choice. So hit him up. He'll take care of you. Also, we got to hit up and talk about my guy Ray over there at Hawkwood's Toys. Again, if you're looking for the latest and greatest in Grail pieces, nice little care package. You get that figure, stickers, comic books, the works, proud sponsor of everything we got going over there at the Figure Flex Friday Facebook group. Hit him up. He'll definitely take care of you. Also, we got to give a shout out to our guy Jacob over there, Comic Relief Comic Collectibles. Again, it's not just about figures, but it's also about physical media. When you're talking about comics, you want to have that source material. He'll definitely make sure that you have everything that you need to proceed. So hit him up, and he'll definitely take care of you as always. And last but not least, we got to give a super duper shout out to our guy Bron Wong over there at Maju Case, Maju Space. If you're looking for a credible display, which I know a lot of people out there want, I have the mono, different display options. You hit him up, he'll definitely take care of you as always. So yeah, just want to kind of give them a super duper shout out. All right, let me get over here and say who's up in the chat real quick. We got Amber May is in the building. Amber, thank you for being here. She laughing about the link. She like, we got to get on that quick. Let me see who we got. Charlie the Unicorn is in the building. Thank you for, he said, Vinny with the as always. We got Ghetto Yoda in the building. Thank you for being here, man. He said, I went to bed after watching it, and my wife woke up and asked if I'm okay. Yeah, bro. It was like that. It's definitely like that.
Yeah, look what else Yoda said.
Where at, bro? Was it above?
No, right below it.
Oh, what did he say? Hold on. Hold on. Is it at the hold on? What did he say? When Vinny said the torture sound is 2 feet rubbing together, I think about the moment. Come on, stop, X, bro. Let's cut it out, bro. Stop. Cut it out, man. Cut it out. We got.
You want to know what that torture sound was in Andor that they put in the headphones?
Shit, bro. No, fire that shit. We got Master Darcy in the building. Thank you. Watch out for Luther behind you. We got Charlie the Unicorn, press X for pleasure. We got, let me see here. Charlie Unicorn said, CC3PO. So definitely so good to see you here. Ghetto Yoda CC, did you pick up some cool stuff? Yes, she definitely did. We got Thomas Brown in here. Master Darcy is in here as well. Mark P. Yeah, man. So I think we got everybody. We kind of covered everybody here as well. Listen, so I wasn't ready. And I'm gonna keep it all the way a stack. I was not ready. I knew it was ramping up. I knew basically, and here's the thing. I'm one who welcomes the slow build because the slow build always gets me adjusted to each individual character. What this show does so effing well is they get you so well invested. Oops, let me see here. We got Toya T. She came through and said, Rita and Cece. She was so happy to see you last week, Rita. She was so happy to see you. She was so happy.
Love you, lady.
But yo, listen, they connect the connective tissue and getting us so invested into these characters. Like they want you to be invested to these. They want you to connect with the characters well, and I think they do that so well to the point where like it's sort of like Game of Thrones. You can't get too comfortable with these. Don't get too attached because at any given time things can change at any given time, and that's why I'm like I'm afraid of who I'm so attached to and if they may go, and it's crazy. I think one of the most masterful performances, and I hate to skip ahead real quick. One moment didn't require a single sound. it was just the action. Dedra Miro in that room when she felt the guilt and her hands started shaking and then she had to straighten herself up. She's like, let me that shit was masterclass right there, bro. I felt it. I was like, yo, this is incredible. But we're definitely skipping too far at it. We're gonna talk about episode 7. But I mean, again, overall, the experience for me, this is literally when we talk about Star Wars and what we want and what we need. This is something you didn't ask for, but now that you got it, you need it because this is change. This is change. This is something completely different. This is the most, and I said this even the other day. This is the most Star Wars that I've felt more than any other Disney Plus show. That's crazy. This is the most I've felt. The reason why is because it's connected to everything. Everything is connected to Rebels. It's connected to Clone Wars. It's connected to everything in so many different ways. And I love it. Cece, slow build up until this particular point, and now we're on 7, 8, and 9. Were you prepared? And after what you've seen, how are you? Where are you at this moment?
I don't know if like my nerves are just shot, but I didn't think it was that slow of a build. Like I was like the scene with Bonnie and Kalina from when like she's trying to get the listening device out in the previous episodes. I was freaking I was stressed. I was stressed. I was like, I don't think this is like you sit there and you wonder like, well, the heroes don't always win. So like, is this one of those times where like they don't get out of it?
Exactly.
Because you don't know. And I think Rogue One
right. You shift right, damn it.
That like
tells you to shift right, you shift right.
Yeah. And then like just the beauty of that scene, and also I think like I could talk all day about the writing and like and also not only that, and I'm trying not to skip ahead because there's like certain parts of like between Gorman and then Deidre and then Cyril, and like there's certain things that I remember really well from the 3 episodes, but everything else is kind of a blur, honestly, until we start talking about it. But I think too, like it's the importance of what's not said between 2 characters that could be the most important dialogue. It's the pauses, or it's the nonverbal communication. I appreciate like you're like, this is the best thing that you recall seeing of Star Wars. I was like brushing my teeth this morning and I was like, I think this is like the best TV ever. Like I put it with like my favorites, like Band of Brothers, Boardwalk Empire, Black Sails, Game of Thrones, like House of the Dragon. Like it's and I think that speaks to the fact that Tony Gilroy and people have talked about like all of the stuff that other people I won't name because some people get triggered by a certain TV, and whether they understand Star Wars and if they understand like the heart of Star Wars. And like Tony Gilroy is not a Star Wars fanatic. He's not a fanboy. Like he is, my understanding is he's well educated.
Yeah.
And hence there's a lot of references that harken back to like World War II, as it should, because that's what I loved about Rogue One, is it seemed more like a war movie than a Star Wars movie. And then this feels more like a spy thriller with espionage and war and genocide and like all these things that we're familiar with, and not a Star Wars universe. And like you said, that it ties into everything, but it's also very organic. It's not fan servicey. It's not like you see a scene and you're like, oh, they put that in there just because they knew we'd freak out, right? Like they knew we'd be like, oh, that's our guy or that's our girl. Like it's all, and I think it's very smart that they've said from the off that they're not going to feature someone like Vader just for the sake of doing it. It has to make sense. And they like the scenes they've placed Krennic in, and then also these characters that we didn't think we'd get to know for any length of time. Like I think Lonnie so far has been great. I don't even remember his name, but like the older gentleman on Gorman, like the very haunting performances in like the span of 2 episodes, maybe, like the ones that stuck with you, and the relationships that like you saw in glances across like a plaza, during a massacre that you put pieces together on how devastating this was. They were people.
Yeah.
You weren't like random cannon fodder, if that makes sense. So yeah, I can't say enough amazing things about Andor. I'm not surprised that the episodes were as intense as they were. It is a shame that it's only 12 episodes, but they're all bangers, so I really don't care.
Oh my God. Like, Rita. I mean, like, I started out, I was saying, like, Deidre was like one of my favorite characters. I don't know why, and she shouldn't be, because I know how people say, yo, she needs to die. Listen, but I mean, she's following orders, and even reluctantly, as you may seems like she's following orders. I get it, but again, when you're talking about Deidre, when you're talking about Bix, when you're talking about Clea, when you're talking about these characters, it's like, to me, it's not just a strong representation, but it's the weight, even the weight that it's the weight that they carry, like really a lot of it. And I know the show is called Andor, and we got a chance to see a lot of him these last couple of episodes. But I think that they did so well with building the characters up around just, Cassian himself. The characters that they've built up through this, because again, like I said, it is about him, but it's not entirely. I think that's why they say Andor. It's everybody who represents his world. And it's like you get so invested in these people, like it's hard for you to let go. Like, how do you feel about this?
Well, I completely agree with what you said, especially with what Cece's saying about this incredible writing that we're getting. And
oh my God,
who couldn't be haunted by the fact that, Dedra's been putting her best foot forward and fooling everybody, even Cyril, who is the biggest fool of all. And, to see his realization, I mean, I know he's a grown adult and everything. I get that. But he never thought that she would lie to him. This is like this betrayal that just broke him. And we see the outcome of that. And, to be honest with you, I think she knew he was going to find out and she just didn't care. She went ahead with her plans, and it just showed more of her character that, even just on face value, I don't want to admit that she is maybe very, very evil, just very, very terrible person.
You don't, like, you just, you know she is, but you don't want to admit it because she's a tortured character too, but it's just like, I know she just does some shit that you can't stand, and she's part of like a complete massacre, but it's like, damn, it's Deidre though.
And when it comes to Bix, who we all love her, but that realization that she got, and I'd like to even get an opinion from you guys, where they get this kind of, we knew there was a bad omen and like a bad feeling, even though then this beautiful, planet Yavin 4 is where they all are, right? It's beautiful, it's lush. It looks like Tahiti or some kind of vacation huts that they're in, like everybody should be happy, right? Everybody has like a very dour, right? It's very dour, and they just know something. They're going to get pounded, and this lady, what a lovely person, but boy, this was like the night before. Something's going to happen tomorrow, and she told them, she was like, oh boy, and this is not what you want to see, right? When you're trying to realize, and I think that's when Bix realized that they're not going to go home after this. Like, it's not the same ever again. There's nothing they can do. Yes, it's true. They can't decide who goes home. But now, even at this point, she's like, as she said before, I want to win. If I'm going to give up everything, I want to win. Now she really realizes that they are going to give up everything, doesn't she? She knows this. She knows. And I think that this is maybe her final, it seems like we were seeing a lot of the characters take their final step. We saw Willman take a final step when he started to inhale the right gas. This might have been her final step. She's like, you know what? This is it. This is it.
Yeah.
Like, it was very crushing. And it did remind me of, and it's like, I'm probably going to go to hell for this, but it reminded me of like when we hear about how, there's a famous prophet, I'm not going to say his name, but he was in a garden at night and he learned all these horrible things that were going to happen to him, and he had to wake up the next morning and just go through with everything, go through these motions. That's what the healer felt like to me. Yeah. Saying, well, something, I'm just letting you know that you're going to have like the most worst experience of your life. It's going to be worth it. But boy, this is going to be the worst thing that's ever happened to you. You think you've been through a lot now? Wait till you see what happens tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. You know what? And this was probably the best demonstration of what the Force means in a long time, because again, we always think of a Force user as someone who's trained by the Jedi or whatever. No, this is a Force user who realizes that the Force surrounds and binds us, but even she's like, I don't know what to call it half the time. I don't know how this works. I just know it's there. You know what I mean? And I know there's a feeling. You know what I mean? And I love that that interpret and what we see, because here this scene could have been interpreted so many different ways. Because when I watched it the first time, I was like, are you trying to say that Andor is Force sensitive? Nope, let's rewind it. I watched it again. Okay, is the healer just, is it foresight that she knows and sees what is to come? Rewind it, watch it again. Big says she's seen this in dreams. How many times have we heard that from a Force user? Is she Force sensitive? And then it dawned on me, all of us and everybody in that universe, in some way, shape, or form, it's surrounded by the Force and has the potential. It's just that some people tap into it, some people don't. Some people are dismissive of it. Andor is just like, nah, I don't want any parts of it. And I think a lot of that is because of his past and what he's seen. So he's very reluctant to kind of get himself involved in that. But it was such a this was a beauty in a speech that she made. She was like, thank you. And when she said that, he was like, what do you mean? The clarity. You know what I mean? She has that clarity now. I was like, yo, that shit is powerful. That was extremely amazing. Speaking of Wilmot, Vinny, Wilmot's been getting a lot of cheeks in these episodes, bro. Like since episode 1 all the way up, he's getting cheeks, bro. Like he was with the one chick, you know what I mean? Back, and then there's the new chick from Gorman. Yo, Wilmot's getting a lot of cheeks, bro. What's going on with that, bro?
I mean, one of the benefits of these longer episode runs is more cheeks for everybody. I mean, that's it goes a long way in a lot of different factors, because one of the brilliant things about this show is how it shows just how much you can accomplish with getting away from the 30-minute 6-episode format that we've been kind of stuck with for so many different Marvel and Star Wars content. And we talk about writing with the show a lot, and not to make excuses, but damn, how much writing and character development can you really do when you got 22 minutes to tell a story with a dozen characters, and you have to have wrapped up in a bow 6 episodes later? There's only so much that you can do, and this show really lets them everybody's characters breathe, get fleshed out. I mean, just look at Cyril alone. This is one of the most corniest, silliest, ridiculous characters, and by the end of this latest episode, we see so much payoff that would not have mattered had it not been for all those annoying breakfasts with his mother, with all those annoying Weasley meetings. None of that stuff matters if you don't have all those. This scene at the end here doesn't matter, because it doesn't make sense. And what you have here is somebody who grew up just smothered and finally thought he was his own man and was making a difference and had it all figured out, and then was he thought he was out. He thought he was finally a grown up, and he had it all ripped away from him. And then so you could you have a show with 24 things going on, and even just singularly his arc of where he came to where he's at is absolutely beautiful. The stuff that went on with Deidre, like you said, her having a panic attack and then getting it together was incredible. Krennic stuff was absolutely insane. Everybody, all like Andor, his acting in this shows just get better and better. And the beauty of it is, there's not a single character who you could really count. I sounds kind of crazy, but in many ways, I don't even Andor isn't the star of the show. I feel like everybody's time is so spread
Yeah.
out. Even like any given episode,
Yeah.
if you like tally up the screen time, I don't even know if Cashin has the most. Like it's all spread out so evenly, and it makes for the point that Gilroy is telling here, and that these are all cogs in the wheel. All this matters. All these things have to happen for these things to happen. Like
Yeah.
all these different, things are important to where they get where they want. And I think that plays into why and how the Empire is so dangerous, because they know what strings to pull to make all these things happen, whereas the rebellion is figuring it out. And they're coming to grips and to terms with how to look themselves in the mirror when they do these things, whereas the Empire doesn't. They know how to get from point A to point B and what it takes. And
Yeah.
you see, even at the end of this episode, the latest episode, Mon Mothma not like fully grasping, realizing, oh shit, people might die.
Yeah.
Like to knowing that we're gonna go a few months later, and she's gonna be responsible for the death of millions.
Mm-hmm.
Watching her here be shocked at
Just a few
Cashin
people.
killing one person.
Just a
in
few
front of her.
casualties. Yeah. Yep.
It's just such a great, contrast and dichotomy of the two different like worlds that she's giving up to enter this other world because it's what's right. And
Mhm.
just seeing Mon Mothma's journey from knowing that something's wrong, she has to do something about it, to what that means to do
Mhm.
something about it, and what that means for every character across the board. Bix
Yeah.
sacrificing basically her happiness because she knows how important Cashin is to them, more so than to her.
Yeah, bro. That's the thing. That's the thing that ripped me apart, bro. That what she said, I wasn't ready. I mean, we knew it was coming, but the delivery, bro, and you felt the pain, bro.
And they did a great job of making it seem like Luthen was going to take her out, or she was going to take herself out. Like there would be some tragedy, but I love that out of all the ways that we thought it might end up bad because she wasn't in Rogue One, here it is that nope, she just took herself out of the equation so that Cashin can shine and do what he's supposed to do to help the rebellion, because she put the world before herself, when the stage was kind of set for her seemingly to be greedy and be like, nah, fuck them, stay here with me. But they flipped it. They flipped it, and it was like, no, go. Like you're more important out there doing what you need to do. There are so many different moving parts in these 3 episodes. My favorite block of 3 of the show, and just for so many reasons, but I definitely love that they obviously do a slow burn type of format on this show, at least compared to a typical Star Wars show. But it pays off when you have an action packed episode, because all these things that happen in that matter so much more. Like when something happens to people, it matters more if you were given time to care about them in the first place, especially with the show with so many characters that aren't household names. So they did such a great job with the show, such incredible writing. And like Cece said, like this is, I feel like a transcendent show. It's not just good for Star Wars. It's just good,
for
period.
Everything, bro. It is.
Well, I don't want to cut anyone off, but I'm gonna forget otherwise. But I appreciate that you said, like, we kind of suspected that something would happen to Bix, and something could still happen to Bix. But I think that it's such a trope in a lot of movies and shows that it's always the significant other who's like, don't do the heroic thing, don't go to war, don't leave, don't go fight the alien, Superman, like stay with me
all the time.
And then we're annoyed that they're wanting to fight for the relationship over like the fate of the world or like the fate of the community. And you're like, dude, like this is this is dumb. Like, can we have some more well-rounded, better written women, like strong women characters? And with this, it's like, well, is something gonna happen to Bix? Because like women get fridged. Like if she gets killed, that's what's gonna motivate Andor to be in the fight, to end up on Scarif. Like it's got to be something bad has to happen to Bix. But this was like, I liked the parallels, like you mentioned, between Cyril, who like, you know, we saw the annoying scenes with his mom and stuff like that. And I think it's like both of them thinking that they knew what their destinies were and finding out the really hard way that they don't, they're not in control. Because I wouldn't expect that Bix would be like, for the betterment of like the galaxy, I need to leave because you're a big part of this and you don't even realize it. And Cyril thinking he was a big part of something, only to find out he wasn't. He was still the peon that, and it was freaking brilliant. I was like, please say it, please just say it, please. When like Andor looked at him and was like, "Who are you?" Yeah, so perfect to summarize. Like he thought he was here. He thought he was the hero of his own story, and Andor's like, "Fuck! Like who are you? And why are you trying to kill me? Like I don't. You're not my own empire. Like I haven't been thinking about you like that." Like,
and if you see it, because he slowly was, it's sort of like he was saying, "What? You don't know me?"
It was like Scarlet Witch and Thanos. Like I don't even know who you are.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Yeah.
Bro. Yo, it was a complete opposite of Electro and what was her name? Gwen. When they were in the elevator and she left, he was like, "Wait a minute, she knows my name." No, he don't know you. He don't know you at all. And it cuts like a knife. It's like, yo, that really fucks you up because a level of importance, like you said, CC, that he thought he had wasn't really there. Which also question, well, if you don't even know me, what the fuck am I doing then? Too late. Shot to the dome.
Far too late.
Shot to the dome. X, I'm gonna get to you here in just a second here, but before we do, gotta bring in Uncle Keith, man. He's in the back. Uncle Keith, man, what's you back there? Where you at, Uncle Keith? Can't see, bro. Who'll be here in just a second? Uncle Keith, there you go. What's going on?
Hey, what's up? What's going on?
How you doing, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great.
Oh man, so glad to have you here, Uncle. Sorry about I got to put you in our main so everybody's there, man. So thank you for being
That's
here.
Great. That's cool.
As always.
That's cool.
Before
ACC, there's the vanishing CC.
Yeah, Dipset, bro. Her and Vinny. Vinny took her under his wing and taught her the dipsetting, bro.
Man, I thought
now you see me, now you don't.
She said, "Well, I gotta go over here to the art, you know, the art area." I said, "Okay, cool. I'll see you later." Poof. Never seen her again.
That's the way it was in Anaheim, bro. We stayed in there. I'm talking to everybody. Cece was right here, bro. And I turned around. I was saying something to Calvin. I turned around. I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Ninja moves.
I always just assume that there's more time, that there's always more time, and like, you know, there's 48 hours in a day, and like, I'll see you later. And then like, I'm like, oh shit, like later is like the con's over. God damn it. Like,
it's all cool. It's all good. Next time.
CC.
LA.
Always be a next time.
LA, exactly. CC. So I'm glad you brought that up because Vinny's going to be at LA. At least you warn people, right? You'll tell people you leaving. Vinny, he do some funny shit. Vinny's walking, I swear to God. It's not intentional, but it is intentional. He'll look over his shoulder, like peripherally, to see you behind, and then he turns his head and dips. I swear to God. Don't let him get 3 or 4 people ahead of you, because that's it. It's over. You won't see him.
I'll be on a mission.
An hour and a half, bro.
It's like that Irish goodbye, dude. He just
just see you later,
bro. Vinny, it's the episode of Atlanta when he was trying to get the money from the dude in the club, bro. That scene. But before I get to you, Uncle Keith, X, we're seeing, and we've talked about this, like from the very beginning. Andor is answering that question. It has been this. I've never wanted to get so invested in Imperial officers, the inner workings of just the legislation, and everyone who's basically involved. It is showing you. This show is showing you wanted to know, like you always knew that the Empire was bad. We knew that just based off of hearsay. But when we think of how bad the Empire, we're only basically looking at two individuals. Back in the day, it was Vader and it was Palpatine. We saw those two individuals as the representation, maybe Tarkin and whoever else, but we saw that
Tarkin,
yeah, but this is showing you the whole organization. It's showing you the inner workings and how it is terrifying, bro. How terrifying it is. Like literally as an occupation, I'm like, I don't think I want this shit, bro. Like straight up, I might go broke and just be on Yavin in a hut. I'd rather do that shit than work for the Empire. But what do you think, like, just the influence of what we're actually seeing and how terrible this show is painting in such a beautiful way? It's giving you a terrible look at the Empire, bro. Even with Mon Mothma's, the tension that I felt when she said that name during episode 8, I'm looking around like, yo, is this somebody going to snipe her in the middle, whatever? Because that's how I felt. And you know what? It was funny, X. As soon as she said it, she said Emperor Palpatine, right? And then if you look at her, like the hover she was in, she was like this, and it just started slowly going back like that. I was like, oh shit, something's gonna happen. But what did you feel about just the tension of these 3 episodes, bro?
I mean, I feel like all of this recontextualizes Rogue One and really the original Star Wars trilogy, because at the beginning of season 2, they told you exactly what they were going to do on Gorman. They told you, Deidre, here's the plan. She told Krennic, here's the plan. This is what you need to do. And you watch as it unfolds. You watch as all the pieces are put in place. You watch as everyone does their part, plays their part. And you see just this evil. When they blew up Alderaan in A New Hope, it was in the blink of an eye. And they talked about it for what? 30 seconds, maybe. And then we're on to the next thing. This is seeing people on the ground level. This is seeing warfare at the ground level and seeing what a government would do in order to achieve its goal. Let's face it, when they brought in those troops that were green, and you could tell they were absolutely green. The Empire brought in those troops that did not know what they were doing, and they sent them out there. It's like, this is evil for the sole purpose of being slaughtered, for the sole purpose. And just to make sure that, they lit the fuse, they had a sniper up there to shoot the first shot. And it's just like, oh God, this is tragic all around. And again, the only one who ever wins in these situations is the Emperor at the end of the day. But if you stop and think about all these horrific things that are happening, it's happening without one giant weapon, one giant super weapon that has yet to be activated, and that is, of course, the DS-1 orbital battle station. If they can do all this, and this is all in service of creating the Death Star, they need this to coat the lasers and all that stuff. If they can do all this without a Death Star, then the stakes for taking down that Death Star are super, super high. Because they can do all this without a Death Star. Imagine what they could do if they had a Death Star and no one, could oppose them. So in A New Hope, when they're taking down the Death Star, in Rogue One, when they're getting the Death Star plans, now we see why it matters that they need to get those plans to take down this government, because we've seen what they'll do. They will stop at nothing. And then, of course, Return of the Jedi, they're trying it again. And it's like, we have a new and more powerful Death Star. Again, we know what will happen if they have this weapon at their disposal. There will be nothing to stop them. And everyone in the show so far in season 2 has tried to have their cake and eat it too. Everyone's trying to play everyone's trying to, you have Deidre and Cyril, they're playing house. You have Cyril in his new job, but he's also, helping out the Mormons, but he's also helping out the ISB. You have Cassian, you have Bix, and you have little Cassian, I'm guessing, because Bix is pregnant. Yes.
Is she?
You saw the way she held her stomach?
Wait a minute, man. Now I missed some shit, bro.
Yeah.
Remember in Tales of the Underworld, when Cad Bane's girl held her stomach?
Yep. Same way.
Bix did the same thing.
You motherfucker. Now
And I'm like, oh, she's pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why she took off. Because she didn't want to be involved.
And that's why she took off, because she's like, there's no way Cassian can go and do what he needs to do if she has a kid waiting for him.
Time out.
You didn't see that?
Flag on the play. Hold on. Time
out.
Yeah.
Time out.
How's that a penalty?
Hold up. Cece, did you know this?
No, I had no clue.
Vinny, did you suspect this?
Nah, I missed that tell.
Did you notice?
I suspected there was more going on because of the attention she was paying towards Bix. And there was no reason for that, because as far as I'm concerned, Bix is not going to go out on another mission. Like, she's never going to do that ever again. She's essentially wanted to stay there and not go anywhere. So when she had this desperate need to remove herself from everybody, I was like, are we even going to ever see her again? So I suspected that she might be expecting, because your first instinct is to get your child away, as far away from all this danger. If they were to ever find her, they would enslave her and her child. Like, it would be a complete disaster. So she has to put that child first. She didn't leave him for her own purpose. It's for someone else or something more important.
And plus, where they were wasn't a safe place to be, because they were on like a forest bungalow in Andor, I think.
Yeah.
That's what they look like. They look like they was on Andor. But
there's a scene where she puts both hands on her stomach in the same way that Cad Bane's girl put both hands on her stomach in Tales of the Underworld. And guess what? Cad Bane had a child. Had a child. He didn't know about. Well, guess what? Bix does the same thing, and I immediately went, "Oh, she's pregnant."
Bro, you pay too much attention to shit, bro. I swear to God, bro.
Yeah, I did the Leonardo DiCaprio thing where I snap and like point. I'm like, up, there it is.
Oh,
because
every woman in the galaxy dips when they're pregnant, and they're not.
It is Star Wars.
Their baby daddies aren't there when they give birth to their kids. I don't think we've ever seen like an intact family in this whole freaking galaxy. Have a nuclear family set. Like, I don't.
But there's no way Cassian can do what he needs to do if he has a child waiting and a lady waiting for him to come home from a mission. And she knows it, which is why she removes herself. She has agency, and she decides to remove herself and push Cassian towards his destiny, because she knows she knows the greatness within it. She's always known how great he could be. She's seen it. She's always seen it. And this is the moment. This is his moment. And she knows that if she's there, if the child is there, there's no way he can go through with it.
Bro, okay, so the answer, Victoria, thank you for being here, Victoria, as well. So there was already a book, a comic that came out years back about Poe's parents and what they represent, because even Luke knew Poe's parents as well. So there's a lot that kind of goes into that. There was a whole story that was written about that, unless they kind of retcon that, which I don't think they will. There was definitely a story about that already. They could.
I mean, they may. They retconned. I think they retconned K2SO's origin story.
Yeah.
So I mean,
yeah, they did. And I thought they were going to retcon Mon Mothma's, connection to Rebels, but they didn't.
But I'm glad they didn't, because now you can go and watch that episode of Rebels, and now Rebels, again, recontextualizing all this that happened. But all these characters thought they could have it in their cake and eat it too. Mon Mothma thought she could, lead this resistance, be a part of this resistance. But then she's like, "Oh God, we're killing people." It's like, this is where you're at right now. The senator from Gorman thought he could, just stay silent And, you know, he didn't want to upset the Emperor. He didn't want to upset anybody. But then it came a point where it was too late.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, no, you can't have your cake and eat it too. It's too late.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so everyone in this, Deidre, Cyril, Cassian, Bix, they all have to make Mon Mothma, they all have to make a choice.
Mm-hmm.
They all have to decide what to do. And Deidre, she made her choice. Cyril is probably he thought he was making his own choices.
Listen,
damn.
And Cyril, again, when people are asking him, "Who are you?" and multiple people asked him, "Who are you?" He doesn't know who he is.
nope.
Nah.
No.
He's searching for all this meaning, trying to attach himself to all these things that he thinks are important, and only to realize he doesn't even know who he is.
Yeah, he definitely, yeah. And because again, we've seen it through his story. He's always been looking for a level of acceptance. You know what I mean? Whether he's looking for that in Deidre, you know, he wanted to feel like there was a level of importance with him. Because his biggest failure to him, and especially if you're seeing it from season 1 and 2, was the simple fact that he never got a chance to capture Cassian, which again, because of some stupid ass mistakes, ended up putting him in the position that he was in. You know what I mean? And even through all that, and instead of just leaving or again, he sees, you know, casting it and it triggers him. It's
Yeah,
automatically
that was the whole purpose in his whole being, not
and that's what it seemed like, huh?
That's what it was. His whole being was to get Cassian, and when he saw him, it was all over. Because I didn't think he had that kind of fight in him,
bro.
Oh,
he did. But he
Rock,
did.
God damn, that was
He was whooping
brutal.
Cassian's ass for
Yeah,
a
he
little
was.
bit, bro.
He was.
The bitch is his mom was right. His mom was telling him that you're being played. You're
Mhm.
being played. She kept saying it over and over again in season 2. You're being played. Why would they send you here? It's a demotion. No, you're not seeing the bigger picture. His mom was right. And then at the end, when she's there crying, I'm like, yeah, that's tragic. Because you know, in her own way, she was both his biggest critic and his biggest supporter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to her it was all love.
Yep.
Yeah. It was that level of love, but he saw it as a hindrance towards progression, or he felt as though, again, what she was saying to him was to keep him at bay in a negative way, when it was her just trying to warn him and school him. You know what I mean? But he was very dismissive of it. And then on top of that, when Deidre saw the control that his mother had over him, she's like, he's mine now. I have to seize that control. I have to take that away from you.
Yeah.
I own him now. Which again, by doing that and standing up to his mom, brought him closer to Deidre as she wanted. To him, it might have been a sense of love. And I'm not going to be dismissive and say that she didn't love Cyril, because there was a level of connection there, but he was also a puppet that she needed. It was a replacement.
I think she definitely did love Cyril in her own way, because again, she wanted her cake and she wanted to eat it too. She was like, after this, we can go back to Coruscant. We can go, you know, the two of us, we can go back to Coruscant. And you see her whole demeanor change when she like full on kisses him on the lips and goes, look, we do this and we go back to Coruscant. And of course that doesn't happen, but no, she really did want to get out of there and take him with her.
Cyril's relationship with Deidre was just a means to get what he wanted, and that was to find Cassian. I think, we were, you know, having the bedtime and the pillow talk and all that business, but that was just a stepping stone to get through her, because he knew she was on a path that he wasn't on, because I think he knew he was being demoted. I think he knew he was somewhere where he couldn't find Cassian what he always wanted to do. And I don't think, you know, that when he saw him, you know, you saw it on his face. It was like, man, I got to kill this dude, and I got to kill him right now. You know, no matter what it takes. I don't care what's going on outside, people being slaughtered. I have to kill him, because this is my mission. This is what's in me. I have to take care of him. And I don't think he really loved Deidre. I think that was just a ends to a means to get to what he wanted.
I disagree. I do think he actually
I don't think he did.
felt something for her. They definitely had a chemistry. That's the thing. They definitely were
Okay,
two
chemistry is one
individuals.
thing. Yes.
I
also,
can't speak to whether they
Well, Bonnie and Clyde had a chemistry too, but
I think that
exactly. I think they did complement each other, and I think they did understand each other. And I think, if anything, I don't know if I would call it love, but they definitely saw a life together of some sort. I don't know if he really thought much about Cassian Andor until he saw him again,
no.
and because he was focused on moving up, and he was working with the ISB. He's important again. He's so important. He's working with the ISB. He doesn't need to think about Cassian Andor. Now he's thinking about taking down some rebels and a much bigger picture. And then he realizes that he got played, and of course then Cassian shows up and he's like, oh well, at least there's you, and I remember you, but
Okay.
you don't remember me.
Do you think, Cece, I wanted to ask you this question. Do you think in this very moment, when he saw Cassian, that not only just all these emotions, kind of, resurfaced, but do you think in some really twisted part of his mind, he thinks that Cassian is responsible for all of this?
yeah, and I also think that I think it just boils down to the fact that, and it could be just me thinking about him, his Cyril's character, is that he kind of just reminded me of like a rent-a-cop who always wanted to be an actual cop. He wanted to catch a killer, like someone who killed his coworkers. Like it was more of like a hero worship, like wanting to be almost like those like people who set fires only so that they could be the ones to like get people out of the building. And I feel like he was just so focused on finding a killer, not necessarily like exposing a spy ring like Deidre was. And I think that that's why he was so attracted to Deidre. It wasn't necessarily, I think it was love, but a weird kind of love that, we could only speculate. I think that for me, especially in season 1, I remember like how freaking creepy like their first interactions were, like in that plaza where he seemed like a stalker, and we were making fun of him for it. Like, dude, you just got no game. Like, just chill out. Like, you can't talk to women like that. You're like, she's gonna put her restraining order out on you. I think he loved the idea of her, and it's almost like the way people describe Batman. Like, some women want to be with Batman, some women want to be Batman. And I feel like he wanted to be with Deidre and be Deidre. He wanted to be in her shoes. He wishes he was in her position and had the same kind of like respect that she commands and was able to do all the cool shit that she was able to. And I feel like him being told to like go to Gorman and do this thing was him thinking like, wow, like I've been handed a baton. Like they actually trust me and they think like I'm capable of doing this. I'm going to be someone for the first time.
Yeah.
Despite all my mother and what she says and how she nags me, like I think he always wanted to be up here, and he was too ambitious for his own good. And I also think that the scene with his mom, I interpreted totally differently, as far as like her being like, well, you know why they sent you there, like they're gonna play you or all this other stuff. No, I think like his mom reminds me of like anyone's mom who just sits in front of the TV like far too much and just watches the news and like and listens to the news and believes everything on the news. And I feel like the scene of her crying for the TV as they're talking about the martyrs who died for the Empire, she was thinking that like he was trying to do his best. He took this assignment that she thought was shitty to like do a good job, and all he was trying to do was his job for the Empire. He was trying to make the Empire a better place, a safer place from these rebels on Gorman. And he was a martyr. He was a hero. He finally became, in his mother's eyes, the hero he was trying to be in his own eyes, that he could be proud of, trying to be his own Deidre. And I feel like
I always thought it was like a Freudian thing. Like he kind of like married his mom, so a woman that was powerful and
that represents,
and it represented
woman
somebody
who could tell him what to do.
in charge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of the same character traits, but yet, unlike his mom, also like showed him compassion too. So it's like he didn't mind of being bossed around, like just, but tell me you love me sometime too, damn it. Like, you know what I mean? Like that balance. I think that's what attracted.
Yeah, but when she kissed Cyril and you know telling him to leave, Cyril wasn't accepting of any of that.
You
No.
talking about the end? Because at the end is when he flipped, when he snapped.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, well, he was not accepting of anything she was trying
Yeah,
to give
but
him or anything. Yeah,
that was the character arc. That's when
yeah,
he snapped out of all the things that
yep,
made him who he was, and
exactly.
realized that this is like he just broke.
Yep.
Because
Yeah.
that's why you see her reaction. That's why I think that they actually did have something, because she wasn't,
Mhm.
she didn't match that aggression with aggression. She matched it with pain, because
Mhm.
she realized, oh wait, like this isn't just some, you know, someone I'm controlling, some loser. Like I actually do love him. Like what did I do? What did I do here?
Mhm.
So I think that was, or she just kind of didn't realize the, the weight of her actions. But I think that is like a great testament to the writing on the show, like their arc together,
Mhm.
where it started off like Cece said, so kind of ridiculous, but yet wound up to this point where it was so impactful.
Yeah. Uncle Keith, man. The get back, bro. The get back. Because
Yeah, he got him back.
dude was
You
like,
know
yo,
what?
it's like it was almost like he was like, yo, get your hands off me, cuz.
I know. But you know what? I was trying to figure out who this guy was, and I kept looking at him through the whole show. I'm going like, he looks familiar, and then I'm going like, I know who he is. He was in Inglorious Bastards. He was the German guy on his knees, and they were going by, do you know Hugo Stieglitz?
Yeah, when they were asking him the
That's who
question.
he is. That's
So
the
that's
actor who he is.
him.
And I was like, okay, now I know who he is. But I this guy right here, like I said, the whole it wasn't French they were speaking, but it was based on a French dialect. And like
Yeah.
I was saying before, this whole show was about resistance, resistance movements from World War II, how villages came together and how their own uh uh their they were like isolated. They really weren't,
Mhm.
out in the galaxy. They were like this isolated community that had this pride about themselves,
Mhm.
and nobody could touch them. But when the Empire came in, it was all over, and
Yeah,
they knew
yeah,
it.
yeah.
And it was too late, because they were trying to show that we're strong, and our culture and our village and our town and our city is this great place. But they realized at the end it was nothing they can do. They were lost, and they knew it.
Yeah.
So the massacre part was, we know why the Empire set that up, so they can take the resources. That's all
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah,
They,
yeah.
they didn't care about a soul on that planet, a bird, nothing. They just wanted what they wanted, and they were going to get it by any means necessary. So they set up the massacre, and you see what you got. So
Brilliant. It was brilliant, right? Because
yeah,
they could, what they wanted was, they mentioned like it was going to destroy the planet. So
yeah,
had they just went there and just drilled anyways, they didn't have to kill those people, but those people would have died eventually when the planet got destroyed.
yep,
But in that aspect, it would have been like the Empire was incompetent and negligent and killed those people by accident, even though they knew that's what was going to happen. But by doing it this way, they got to spin the web and tell the story that these people fuck with them, and
resist.
this is what
Yes,
happens
yes,
when you fuck with the Empire. And
yes,
Tarkin's
yes,
famous line is, "Fear will
yes,
keep the local systems in line." So
yep,
not only do they get what they want on the planet, but they also show that, hey, if we want something on your planet, you better just like chill and leave us
give
alone.
it up.
Otherwise, this
Yep,
might happen to you.
yep,
It's
Of
exactly.
just
course,
it's just incredible.
an
Yeah.
a unintended side effect of this, though, because it works both ways. This also sparked the galaxy to rebellion when they saw what was happening, because some people saw it as, oh, some people bought into the propaganda, but then when Mon Mothma went on and did her speech, people were like, wait, no, that's not how it went. Maybe they were just massacred, in which case we should probably stand up to the Empire. So really this was a big spark when Luthen's like, it will burn brightly.
Riley, how do you guys feel about the news coverage? Because we've never really seen
That was I enjoyed that. That was something
I always
different.
felt like with the original trilogy, it wasn't there, but you never knew it was that just because it was Tatooine and it was a backward planet. It didn't have TVs, or did the Empire like suppress knowledge where there wasn't television, there wasn't news, so that you didn't know what was going on in the world and what they were doing. But here it's like very clear. Yes, there's TV. Everybody knows what's going on, but it's spun. So that way you're just seeing what they want you to see. That's two very different ways to control. Either keeping television away or giving you television, but just telling you propaganda.
Yeah.
Empire knows that the people on Coruscant don't want to hear about any of this. They just want things business as usual. As I say, they just want the champagne to flow. And they don't want to hear bad news. They want to get up in the morning and enjoy themselves and live the life they've been living. And as far as they're concerned, the rest of the galaxy doesn't even exist outside of their world. And they're almost like they feel that they're equal to the Emperor in a sense, like they're masters of the universe. And it doesn't matter, who is saying this is more important or that's more important to them, because they just want to get what they want. They're fulfilling their own selfish desires. So it is very interesting, by the time we see so many of these people walking around, they really truly are not as concerned as I would hope they'd have to be. But it was so important for her to say that on the Senate floor, but equally important for it to be rebroadcast galaxy-wide.
Yeah. And the thing is, it was the perspective, like what was said. It was definitely the spark, that started pretty much almost everything, but it needed convincing. And I think that this is what it was. But it was like you said, it spun in such different, because you had multiple news coverage going on at the same time. So it was sort of like you were watching CNN and Fox News at the same time, showing totally different perspectives. One was showing that the occupation there, that established itself there at that point, was part of the problem. The other one was showing that, okay, no, you had this faction, you had this, this terrorist movement that sparked it and was the reason why. So it was being spun in so many different ways. It was in freaking insane, like you said, to see that broadcasted the way it was, and it's like again, guerrilla journalism. You know what I mean? Where you're basically out there doing warfare, seeing all this happening at once. You know what I mean?
I was waiting to see BB from Daredevil.
Right?
Because I think that when they blew up the naval yard, they weren't going to do this massacre when they did it. You hear them say, well, we got things in place, we're going to get things here later. But I think this just pushed up the time frame of the massacre happening the way it did. I think this was going to happen. It was going to happen, but later on. But when they blew up the naval yard, that just put the time frame close. Well, let's just take what we want. We got this situation. We can set it up and play like the terrorists are this big problem, and we can wipe them out and get what we want. So it's another. Yeah, I'm listening. Go CC. Go.
All right. That was Cyril's job, was to make sure that these rebels failed, but not totally. Because they had to look like the enemy. It almost reminds me of, and this goes way back and people probably don't remember it, but 2020, Black Lives Matter, there's like protests in, I think it was Dallas, and there was this thing that made the rounds all over Twitter about the fact that people posted photos that there was like a pile of bricks that were left in a location before a protest. And they were like, cops left these bricks because they want the protesters to get the bricks so that the cops can do this, that, and the other. And it all ended up being bullshit. But I'm like, that's what Cyril was doing. He gave them the plans to get the cache of weapons, because like these civilians can't be dangerous to the Empire unless they're armed. And then we can't have a massacre. We can't have a protest turn into a massacre unless we know for a fact they have munitions, they have bombs. They bombed the naval station. It's just you can't go from 0 to 60. With this propaganda machine. So that's what Cyril was doing. He was just making them just dangerous enough that it was believable that they were so bad that the Empire was forced to do this.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely
And
agree
then, of
with
course,
that.
the Empire released the KX droids, and I think that's the second time in Star Wars where I said, "Oh shit,
bro!"
Talk
Like,
about terrifying." It's like, oh,
Big
bro,
time
like
terrifying.
I mean, you knew, like, literally, and on top of that, you seen the motherfuckers run. I was like, yo,
that
this slow.
was shocking, actually. I'm like, they
Yeah,
can run.
they can definitely run, and you definitely had a Terminator moment in there a couple times, and bro, like, literally using no blasters whatsoever.
No blasters at all.
But okay,
Din Djarin was right to hate droids. Fuck that.
Exactly. Right? But okay, so here's something that bugged me. Now, X, I talked about this yesterday when it came to fucking Phantom Menace, Obi-Wan, and Qui-Gon when they did that fast force run away from
back to
remember
this.
that? But they couldn't do that, but
That was
Obi-Wan
great.
couldn't do the same run when it
He's
came
never
to
gonna, he's never
Qui-Gon
gonna
fight.
let this go. Never.
I'm never gonna let that go, right? But the same thing happened here because I'm thinking back. I'm like, well, wait a minute. So on what was it? Okay, so basically, when they were trying to get the Death Star plans, when you're smuggling Death Star plans, and Kate, when he was getting shot by them stormtroopers, bro, he was taking blows and getting penetrated.
Yeah.
Cassian was shooting him at close range, and it wasn't budging this cat, bro. Nobody can. So what is it? This over time, the armor just what the hell?
No, see, you doing it again, Leo.
I can't help it, bro.
Again.
I can't help it because I'm thinking about these practical things, and I'm like, come on, man.
Let
Really?
us
He
just
should have ate them
believe.
shots.
Let us just sit there and go, yeah, he's shooting him in the chest, but ain't not one blaster bolt going more. But he got blasted in the control room.
In the control room, bro.
Okay, we know that.
On Scarif.
Just let it go.
Bro, like straight up, like he was getting blasted in the back, taking blows, and I'm like, yo,
please talk to him.
Cassian had a cannon, bro, and not one penetration. But no, I digress. Still, I'm just going whatever. But bro, when he threw chick,
he got rust or something,
bro. I don't know. It was okay. So I wanted to leave this. This is a very important question for the ladies. And I'm gonna start with you. How do you think Pretty Boy Brat did at playing Senator Organa?
I thought it was fine. I wasn't like even phased by it. I just was curious. Yeah. The thing that disturbed me the most was not that he was playing that role, but what role they almost gave you the impression that we knew this betrayal was going to happen with Mon and getting away. And I didn't like the thought of Bail even being associated with anybody who would betray Mon Mothma. So I wasn't quite sure if they were implying that he might have known. That felt very uncomfortable to me because I would never associate him with that sort of behavior, especially towards Mon. So, we knew, the scenes where she makes the speech and then she's running through the halls, it's never a good day if you're running through the halls of the Senate, right, for your life. But the last thing you're thinking is that Bail doesn't have your back. And I almost got the impression that he didn't. And so I feel very ambiguous towards Bail all of a sudden. I never felt that way before, but I wasn't quite sure if the storyline was letting us know it's like maybe he's not as a reliable individual to get her out of there. I didn't like that feeling. So if that was their intent to make me feel unsure or uncomfortable with his ability to get her out there safely, they accomplished that.
What they really did it was. See, here's the thing though with that particular scene though, because there were two individuals who were there to kind of help somebody. It was one that was a plant, and that was the chick.
But see,
he said he worked for.
I have these three
exactly,
people, and he said, "I don't know who they are." He said that. So why wouldn't you know a team that's supposed to rescue her? Why wouldn't you know who they are?
Because I guess the
chick who was the ISB worked for Lonnie.
Yeah,
and I didn't realize that. They said that it was super. So I think Bail's still in the clear, and also I hope that Lonnie, being the the MVP that he is, I just love the character. I think it's cool that this blink and you miss it character is doing these things that end up making a huge impact. But I think he sent the most incompetent fucking person he had, who clearly lost her nerve, and
Okay.
was making mistakes from the off, getting caught talking on the phone or whatever on the radio.
She was horrible.
Yeah.
Like, he's right there. Why are you
Just
taking the
spazzing.
call?
Yeah.
She wasn't making any sense. Another problem I had with the whole scene of her getting out of the Senate was, listen, I mean, you're running through the halls. Everybody knows who you are. It's like she got a coat on, some disguise. Everybody know who that was.
Yeah.
You and I know there's no way they would have been taken off in that car off that planet, getting off that planet. They would have
That
had
driver
TIE
was
fighters
dumb
in
as
the
shit,
air.
too.
They would have had stormtroopers at every exit. It was too easy to get out of there. Way too easy. I needed to see some more gunshots. I needed to see Mon pick up a blaster and start capping some fools.
Well,
That's what I needed to see.
You make a good point, because it would have been interesting if Bale had done something and we saw him physically
Yeah.
do something. Like maybe he had some special second, or third plan B and C. Like, oh, this it fails, I can always, hide. It's not going to be hide under the coat nonsense, but this is close to I'm going to hide you under the coat nonsense, because they were like in plain sight everywhere, right?
Yeah.
With no cover. And however, I did like where the coat falls off. It's like her old life. She has to leave it behind, and she does that look. She just said, "Oh God, I'm leaving Coruscant all behind." And it's like, oh my, it's like you're watching the place burn down, and you're running out with just what you have in your hands. And however, you're right. It's not as believable as it could be. And maybe we'll find out later on that there was some other thing. But when those scenes where they kept going back to sort of like the headquarters, and they're like, "We lost transmission," and I'm like, "Nah, I don't think so. I don't know."
Yeah, see, that was kind of the whole thing was. It could have been done a little bit better, just a little bit.
I loved episode 8 though, bro. That was probably one of my favorite episodes, because it just showed you that, number one, Cassian gives no fucks about anybody, bro. Like, straight up. He's
my
like,
man don't
"We
hesitate.
found her. Blam. That's it, bro."
Yo, what did you think he was gonna do? Why didn't you stay in the car? What do you think he was gonna do?
Poor
Because what are the
Clovis.
odds that? What are the odds that he would have even found her just trying to go into that big ass building anyway? Like, why would you not just stay in the car?
Yeah.
And you go run him up on somebody without your weapon? Hey, stop. Come
Also,
on,
is
man.
there no elevators at the Senate? They gotta take those steps.
I know they had to go down that spiral.
Every day is leg day at the
staircase,
Senate.
I mean,
See, you gotta take the stairs because everyone else is taking the elevators. You take the elevators.
You gotta do the Rocky steps every day.
No one takes
And you
the
might
stairs.
have cameras in that elevator as well. You never know.
Man.
You know what I mean? So you got to kind of stay in the blind eye, get down the corridor as quickly as you can. I mean, Mon Mothma knows the ins and out of that Senate hall. So, of course,
I told you, if I was directing that scene, Mon Mothma would have picked up a blaster, and Cassian would have been laying there like getting ready to get shot, and she would have had to cap somebody, and then she would have had the feeling of, yeah, this is what it's like. This is what I have to do. That's what I would have done.
Did you see the look on her face? She was not ready for combat.
Okay, listen.
Hell no, she wasn't.
Okay. All right.
I just want to point this out though, real quick.
listening.
Something that's
the
not.
fact that he did all that in heels is remarkable.
You know what was dope about the Bale thing? Him giving up his his time to talk to her, I feel like was a really distinguishing moment for what happens in New Hope, because I think that that's a throwback to why Tarkin picked Alderaan. Wasn't just because that's where Princess Leia is from. They had beef with Alderaan since this moment when their senator basically gave Mothma the floor to call out Palpatine, and they might have been looking to get their look back ever since then. So it wasn't just because Leia's from there. So when as soon as he gave up his time, I was like, oh shit, this adds to why Tarkin picked Alderaan for the first target for Death Star.
Yeah.
I mean, like Vader said, you're a part of the Rebel. When he told Leia, you are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor, because he knew at that time, again, like her being her affiliations with Bail Organa. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot that kind of goes into that. So I agree, bro. Real quick though, just want to kind of point this out. This is how Cece looks when she finds out that there's no noodles or rice, and it's during the celebration, bro. That's the same face, like what?
Like Austin's face. I was told there'd be noodles and rice.
Yeah.
I was told that like I was gonna come here and I was gonna eat my noodles and I was gonna eat my rice and I was gonna kick someone's fucking ass and I was
yeah.
Uh,
I mean, the thing is, especially with I mean, first off, like the time jumps, I like how they're basically, and if anybody who had actually a problem with the time jumps, obviously you haven't watched the original trilogy, or even the prequels, to be exact, because there's always a time jump after every movie. You know what I mean? There's time in between. I mean, they didn't sort of go too much with that when it came to like the sequel trilogy as much, but they did, in previous actions. So I love that the 3 arc episodes going into and how they're doing it. It's like you're watching a mini movie per each 3 episodes, and I love that. I love the way that actually feels. But again, it's just heartbreaking because it's like now I am wondering what is happening in between.
that's what I want to know. See,
yeah, like what is happening in between? Like what is going on? Because now in my mind, X, that you said something about Bix being pregnant. I'm wondering what's going to happen between that time in the next 3 episodes. Like, are we going to ever fucking find out? Like, now I got to go back and watch this shit to see. And I'm going to tell you, well, where's it at? I'm going to have that Leonardo DiCaprio moment. There it is. That's what I'm thinking. Like, is that what it is right there? Is that what I'm looking for?
Fuck, trust me, you'll see it. You'll see it. It's there.
And we're talking about knowing about what happened to kid. Someone's a kid. What about Cad Bane's son?
I was gonna say,
yeah.
What about that?
Because I want to kind of get some time to get into that as well. But I bring this up for a reason. See, someone to ask you a question. Yo, furthermore, she's a boss. Because it's like every time Luther starts talking, it's like she's just almost saying, like, yo, shut the fuck up. What are we
Shut
doing?
up. Shut it
like,
down.
What are we doing? What's happening right now? Stay on. You know what I mean? Stay in the moment. Like, stop digressing these long ass speeches and shit. I don't want to hear that. Stay on target. This is what we're doing. This is the plan. It's sort of like she's in control. Like, that's what it feels like. She's the one that's running every fucking thing. Communications, putting place in, product placement, where people need to be at moments. It's like she's the one that is taming everything, bro. And it's fucking incredible. It's almost like is it Luthen that's in control? Is it her running the ship?
I think that it's like any like decent team, they probably take turns, or because Luthen's clearly been doing this a very long time. If that monologue in the first season did the whole do nothing, he's been doing this for a very long time. So I could see it where it's like, okay, like I've got to borrow the backbone for today. I'm going to call the shots. Tomorrow you're going to do it. Because like Luthen's like that with Cassian. He doesn't fuck around with Cassian. He is the guy who gives the orders. When it comes to Cassian, when it comes to talking to Vale, like he is the one in charge. But behind the curtain, like the Oz kind of curtain, she pulls her weight just as much. So I think it's like what's that? I don't like it all the time, that saying like behind every like successful man is like an equally strong woman.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what this is. Like Luthen has his strengths and she has hers. And when Luthen starts faltering, she's the one who's like, fuck, suck it up. Like, figure it out.
Pulls him back to where he needs to be, yes.
Because like we don't have time for this. And I'm sure there's been times that we haven't seen where Luthen's been the opposite, or he's that way in the field. It's almost like she is the cool and calm collective one when it comes to like the strategic planning of what they're doing, and like weeding out all of the noise that Luthen was talking about, how they're getting so much information that he doesn't know how to keep it straight. She knows how to keep it straight. He knows how to be the guy in the field talking to the people and talking down the people, like Cassian, who are like, I'm out, I'm done, I've done awful things, like I can't take this. And even they alluded to, I forget her name, Belle's partner who died. How she had to go. Cinta.
Cinta, yeah.
Cinta. So she had to go rest up for a while. And we don't know if that was like something went wrong when she killed Tay, like it was a physical accident, or she was on a mission and got injured, or if it was like, I need to get my head on straight. And if Luthen had to be the one who's like, hey, like, I can't afford for you to not have your head in the game. Like, you need to chill out. You need to, like, I'm going to shelf you basically from the operation until you can get your act together. That's how I interpret like their dynamic in that relationship.
Yeah. It's like, you know, like it's just like playing off of each other at some point. I just again, like you said before, just her being calm in the most desperate moments. And just she shows that level of reserve quite well. And it's crazy because you know when you know especially the moment when they had that dinner or when they actually were showing off some of the artifacts and you had Krennic that was there and you know she's trying to keep it together, like she's keeping dude together, like she's clearly in pain trying to get this resolved, but she's really reserved. She's trying to tell this dude in front, like, yo, just move to the left, stay calm. Yeah.
There's another thing about that scene that I like completely missed until I watched it again. Like, and that was the fact that the wording, the way they both chose, her and Lonnie chose to describe the artifact itself. So if I remember correctly, she said something about the people who created that device saw sight as a disability.
Yeah.
When she made eye contact with him, like, dude, we just did this. This is your homework. You need to, we're just like, you have to go explain this to the people so that they know what we're standing here talking about. And Lonnie describes it as the people who built this saw blindness as a gift. And I think it's, so he was like, blindness as a gift. She was saying sight as a disability, the complete polar opposites. And I feel like it spoke to the fact that they have different missions. Like he's an ISB and having to pretend like he's, you know, he's for the cause. She is getting all this information from different cells and trying to keep it together. And it's a lot of noise and it's really hard to decipher. And it makes you want to like be blind to it all. And the guy who's not blind to it all is Lonnie, because he sees what the Empire does. He knows how bad they are. He sees it on a regular basis. He sees the horrors just like Luthen has. I thought that was super cool. Just like I said, chef's kiss writing.
I want to add something to that too, CC, that it also represents the Coruscant elite, who they just don't want to see any of the nastiness or ugliness of what's going on. And they are, technically speaking, kind of blind to what's going on in a sense. They choose to be blind to it. But that was one of the first things I thought of, because of course, who would be fascinated by this more than the Coruscant elite, who were like, then I have to have that piece. That is, you know, and it's more important for them to collect their art and stuff than to see what's going on in the galaxy around them.
Yeah, that's and you know what, when she started talking about that artifact and she was talking about like, you know, the clan, you know, that were blind, ooh, my mind started going. I was like, yo, Visa, was it Visamar and Night Steel Republic 2?
Okay, yeah.
Remember? Because she came from a blind race. And I was like, ooh, I'm wondering, because they said they see blindness as a gift. And I was like, that entire race is blind, but they're also force sensitive, strong in the force. So I was like, but I got to think from Gilroy. I'm like, yeah, he don't mean that. That's you know, he's trying to stay as far away from any type of references in that aspect as possible. But it's just it's the wistful thinking in me. It's just like, yo, if they had that connection.
But you know who isn't blind? Saw Gerrera, because he has clarity of purpose.
Oh,
you think I'm crazy?
How we got his name.
So
the evolution isn't for the sane. He knows he's crazy. He's like, I know I'm crazy.
So do you think we'll see? Do you think that we'll basically see the demise of Saul in these next 3 episodes?
I
What I
mean
mean by
him
that
getting
is like,
messed up.
yeah, are we going to see that?
Either he's
No.
already going to be messed up, and I'm guessing from a Rhydonian, explosion.
Yeah.
Which is of course why he's sucking on the oxygen, because his lungs are all messed up, and now we know why he needs that oxygen all the time. So either it's going to already have happened, and we see him on Jeddah, and he's already messed up, and I wonder if it'll actually include Wilmon. Because I was thinking, I'm like, it's got to be something to do with Wilmon.
It's got to be.
And Saw,
Yeah, you're right. It's got to be.
But I mean, that's just, I guess, wishful thinking. But I'm like, come on, Wilmon. Like, how invested are you? Like, how are you a real believer? You sucked in the Rhydonium as well. Breathe it in. Are you really on board? And is he going to realize that, well, maybe Wilmon isn't, what I thought he was? And, accident, as he says, accidents happen.
Yeah.
Accidents happen.
I want to see at least a little bit of his crew in action. It don't have to be a long time, just at least a little bit. Like, I need more than Knights of Ren standing on a plateau in the middle of nowhere for no reason.
Exactly, Manny.
His crew's already done more than the Knights of Ren ever did.
Exactly, Manny.
We don't talk about that, bro.
The Knights of Ren, they look
we
real
don't
cool
talk about
standing
that,
on
bro.
rock.
Come on, man.
Yeah,
Like,
It's
looks
up
like
there
they're in a
R
music
farming
video.
for nothing.
Just pan around them like they're in a music video. Yeah, it's like,
No,
no.
talking about a waste of characters, man. Oh
man, we come on, man. We don't
Oh no.
we don't have those conversations in this space, man. We gotta kind of let that go. Listen, I'm definitely anticipating, the next couple of episodes. Like, literally, we got what, 10, 11, and 12 coming up, and
Yep.
I cannot, like, this. I can't, like, I was you know what? The crazy part about it was I was cheering at the dumbest moments, not even dumb, but just the most recognizable moments. When Vale picked up the blaster, she clearly sees that blaster. She's looking at it and identifying it. And then she's like, who's this belong to? And you see Maushi raise his hand. I was like, there we go. Here we go.
Yeah.
We're starting Rogue One. That's, bro. I was so excited to see Maushi, but then part of me was like, oh, fuck. Maushi dies in Rogue One. And I'm like, damn, like, you just taking my joy away from me, man. But again, this is peak writing. Pete Gilroy. I'm like, Gilroy, would you consider doing a Jen Erso show?
Hey, and don't forget General, what was his name? General Kern or General Karen? I can't remember his name.
What Krennic?
Yeah, no.
Oh, Kern.
General Kern, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, he was in the front. He was in. Yeah.
He was in it too. You see him, so that's part of Rogue One. So listen, we're getting there slowly but surely.
Yeah, and they
Master
did.
Darcy, I would definitely buy a Hot Toys Saw Gerrera with a gas mask.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How
excited is everyone to watch Rogue One when this shit is over?
And that's what Gilroy and Diego Luna said. Watch it after episode 12. Go back and watch Rogue One, because it's going to pick up right there. And I'm like, okay, let's go. Now, what's the chances though we see Galen Erso in these next couple of episodes? Because he wasn't that Star Wars Celebration for no fucking reason.
Extremely high.
You're right. I agree with you. 100%.
Imagining K2SO saying they're high, like really high.
The chick is actually high.
Would you like to know the odds of him showing up the show? They're high.
Saw Gerrera high.
That's high. That's
That's really high.
That Rhydonium was some bad stuff, boy.
Listen,
I was just waiting to see if we see more Gullet.
No lie.
The force is with me. I feel the force. The force is with me.
Right.
More Gullet will know the truth.
Saw Gerrera is whacked out of his skull.
Yeah.
Also, picking a hot toy, Saw Gerrera hot toy, no poor Gullet option. It's trash.
Right? If you don't get that, come on, man, stop playing. I want to switch gears so quickly, man, because I want to definitely get this in here, because I fucking enjoy Tales of the Underworld.
It was good.
I fucking enjoyed this show, man, because number one, I mean, it's no mystery that Asajj Ventress is one of my favorite characters of all time. Even though she wasn't introduced until, but still, It is one of, and I love the simple fact that they stuck to the lore and they just gave us an extension of it. So they didn't take away from what was there from the story. They didn't take away from it. They just expanded on it. And it was interesting how with her story. Now, Vinny, you saw this though, right?
Yeah, I binged them all tonight because I hadn't seen them until today.
Okay.
So I watched them all right before we went on.
Okay, cool. Because it was interesting how Mother Townsend was like, listen, you can go. You can live in the land of the living.
That's right.
But you have to give up your heart's desire.
Yep.
And that was the linchpin, like, oh shit. Like, so she can't. Nope. There's no way, you know what I mean, that she could go back to him. She has to live it this way. And
but what's so weird about it? She's looking for him.
Yeah,
it was very Soul Stone Thanos type of like conundrum there. It's almost like, can I trick that loophole? Can I just like can I convince Mother Townsend like my heart's desire is like ice cream or something and just give that
up? bring back a box of Krispy Kreme.
Probably won't work, but it's worth a shot.
Yeah, it was worth it. And again, it's like her destiny, regardless. It's like what they're saying is with Asajj is that as much as she tries to run away from it, she can't run away from her destiny. And her destiny is to be a mentor or to be that in a sense, that individual who can, kind of lead by example, but also lead by experience, and help in a sense. It's sort of like it felt like for all these years, she's been running away from her destiny, knowing what it really is, but even almost damn near not blinded, but, again, you taste something that you've never really experienced before, which is love for the first time. You know what I mean? Love that you can't break away from, and knowing that you have a chance, and then you have to give. It's like Asajj has sacrificed so much since her existence. Like it's so much. Like she's lost so much, even her soul at one point, and now she's back. Man. Cece, did you see these episodes?
I was hoping you were gonna forget I was sitting here and just not ask me.
You didn't see any of them?
I haven't. Like you guys could feel free to talk. I'll just sit here. Like I have heard that Cad Bane's story was maybe the little more interesting one, but I know they're short. I actually, this is one of the few occasions I actually appreciate the shorter episodes because I feel like they've got like they're more impactful. Like they have to fit in like smarter choices in those shorter episodes. But I loved Tales of the Empire because it had my boy Thrawn in it. So I'm gonna watch these. I just haven't had a chance to, obviously.
Yeah. Bob Dylan was like, yo, I did not expect to like Cad Bane's story more, but Lyko was hella annoying. It's the Cad Bane story. It started like, honestly, when it started, I was a little shaky about it. I was like, but they stuck to the point where there was no redemption for him. Like there was no type of redemption. It's just everything that inspired what was to come. And it was heart-wrenching because that was a bit of a fucking twist that I didn't see coming in the end. And I was like, oh shit. But there's one thing we learned about Cad Bane. He's a
Cad Bane fucks.
He's yeah, he does.
Cad Bane fucks. Full stop. Cad Bane fucks. Full stop.
Like Yaddle. It all tracks.
I mean, why would he not? He's Cad Bane.
Did you say like Yaddle with all tracks?
Yeah. And Palpatine. All these people clapping cheeks we didn't expect.
Yeah, you know.
Yo, but he's also a deadbeat dad. But I mean,
also, and that was
who in the galaxy is it?
Does tragedy really, really well, and talk about tragedy where it's like you just gun down your childhood friends in front of your child, and then you reach out to your child, and then you withdraw your hands, knowing that you just can't.
You said I'm Cad Bane, not Dad Bane.
I mean, but hey, not only gun down your best friend, gun down your best friend that you let go to jail, that got caught in the crime. I mean, damn, it's like cold blooded, man. Cold blooded.
Yeah.
So
It was good though. Like but again, I loved, and I think it did have an edge, but over the Asajj story. But I love the Asajj story because I just love the simple fact that again, there's a destiny that at one point an unfollowed destiny that she's forced to follow now. You know what I mean? And now she's responsible for a young Padawan who is going to be interesting to see how they do this. I like when they do shit like this because it is signs of the future, but how will we see that future? Are we going to see it in another animated show, which I'm not opposed to at all? I would love to see that. Or are we going to see it in live action? Which again, if tracking it though, if we, a lot of people were talking about, well, maybe we can see her in Ahsoka. She'd be much older and at that particular time. And I'm not sure that they would actually go that route. But it is interesting. We got a $5 super bomb by my man Bob Dylan. Random Wish. Live action Ahsoka should be played by Angelina Jolie, and actress said the voice actress said so. Even Wikipedia entry for her has Jolie fan art.
I could do it. I could see it. Yeah, why not? She's got the lips for it.
Definitely got the lips for it.
Yeah. And Asajj Ventress has very interesting lips. I was just impressed by this show, by these sets of episodes, because I finally got to see the inside of an Imperial Star Destroyer shield generator. And I'm like, I don't think I'm taking the right thing from this episode, but I'm like, this is really cool. This is really cool. It's like, no, I have a feeling that's not the lesson from this. I'm like, no, inside of a shield generator. This is really
well,
cool.
you got both the lessons, like Cad Bane fucks, and this is what the inside of a shield generator is like.
I was getting everything I needed from the show.
Yeah.
Bro.
Oh my goodness.
All I can't. I will say though, she was getting her ass handed to her by this Inquisitor, bro. Like
whoever he was, he was, you know what I mean? That was a vulnerable side. Like that, I'm like, yo, that's not a side you fighting. But definitely it couldn't be. But yeah, it was definitely interesting to see how this portion of it went down. But there was another Inquisitor lost quick as well. Like, damn, I would love to have seen him last longer.
Inquisitors, they got a bad win-loss record.
They do, bro.
No.
In and out. Like, that's definitely the way it is. What did you think about these episodes?
Uh-oh.
You're
You're muted.
She's speechless.
Well, one thing that I thought was fascinating was that, I've always felt like I always wanted to see more Asajj Ventress. So just from the very beginning of it, she was this character that you wanted to see more. And, I didn't know that she survived after that. It's kind of funny because in part of the story where she is taken, and I was actually going to put this in the background, where she's delivered so gently into this pool to go back and join the other Night Sisters. At least that's what I think is going on. I thought it was so delicate and beautiful. And I love the thought of her existing in that other realm and, seeing her, alive. And it was her, just not without a corporal body, so to speak. So I was really touched by that. I thought it was beautifully done. I think it was very, it looked very nice. I didn't know that she came back that way. And at first I was like, well, doesn't she want to be with the man she loves? But I feel like she feels she has unfinished business. And maybe some of that business is exactly what's happened to her, running into this, young Padawan, and I think it is interesting. I guess she wants to do this, and she certainly does have talents, but I don't think any of us believe that she's just going to hide out somewhere and, we'd never see her again. That's not her personality. You wouldn't come back from the dead for that reason. It would be some other thing. She has unfinished business, and I'm hoping we get to see her finish up those things that she wants to take care of. And I thought she looked wonderful in it. And the Cad Bane story, that was heartbreaking. I was so compelled watching this story, and it was wonderful. It was entertaining. I mean, it's sad. I think any child would even see the Cad Bane story, understand it, and enjoy that. It was just touching, and it was just so beautifully done. And I think that this is maybe one of their best animations that they've done that we've seen in a while, and I think it's just really stellar.
Yeah, the Cad Bane story. Again, when it started, I was just kind of shaky about it, but then once it started to unfold, I was like, okay, we're going through basically what got them started at that particular point with the enticing of, what I mean, a mercenary who sees the potential in these two kids and how their friendship, sort of gets kind of divided after. You have one who goes a totally different route, of being a protector, of an entire town. And then you have Cad Bane, which again, it's, the reluctancy in that was not to initially kill him, but once everything went down, he found out what happened, after everything, when Bane came back and his girl, goes with his best friend, and his best friend's didn't clap them cheeks. Well,
Nope.
probably did, but who knows? But raised his child. You know what I mean? Like that is really it was really an interesting story. So we know that, but the biggest things that I was worried about was not taking it to a point where you would try to humanize this character and say that, okay, there's a redemptive story there. No, I wanted it to be just the way it was. Him showing us just how ruthless he is by actually walking the fuck away. You know what I mean? Like walking away at the end. You know what I mean? Watching his best friend die, and again, the son just there and he just walks away. Hey, that's some shit, bro.
It's one of those characters that you really don't want to see too much of, because it's like you don't need the backstory to Michael Myers.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need the backstory to you really don't need the backstory to Boba Fett, because it demystifies these characters. And really, the fact is, before this, we didn't know much about Cad Bane, and that was a part of Cad Bane's charm. Is the fact is, like, who is he? Well, all I know is when he shows up, bad things happen. That's all I know about Cad Bane. And now we know a bit more. But you're right, they did right by his character, in that it's like, no, his character wouldn't have taken his son in his arms and go, oh God, I'm so sorry. And no, he did exactly what he should have done, which is turn his back and walk away.
Yeah. And yeah, I was and to kind of touch on this a bit, Vinny, seeing this, Vinny and Unc, both you've seen it too, Unc, right?
Yes, I watched it. Actually, I watched it today. Yep.
Yeah. The kind of, do you think like do you guys think that it's a possibility we might still get are we going to see in some way, shape, or form a reunion between Quinlan and Asajj, or are they going to just leave it completely like ambiguous, like, or just like one of those situations where we may not ever see that?
Well, what it was she knew what Mother Townsend told her. That's why she was where she was at the beginning. She wasn't looking for him. She knew she couldn't look for him. But when the kid showed up and said, hey, I'm looking for the Jedi path, that sparked
the interest.
I want to see him again. So I think they're going to meet up somewhere along the line. I think it's going to happen. Now, what's going to happen from that, I don't know, but I think she's going to find him.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know the rules. Like, you have to give up your heart's desire. Like, you would think that would mean that she would somehow like forget about him. Like, what is physically actually keeping them apart? Like, is it a spell? Like, that's the only thing that makes me think that, like, okay, I wonder,
is there a loophole?
What's the implication? Like, I don't know the rules of that rule. Like,
because it wasn't really specified.
Yeah, because you would think it would just mean, they don't recognize me anymore, maybe, or they don't, or I don't now feel anything for them. Like,
could be,
but there's no explanation of how that rule actually takes into effect. But the point stands that they can't be together. But I don't think I necessarily need to see that. Asajj picking to just come back to to the world without him, I don't think is tragedy, because I don't think that they've spent. It's not a relationship that's you know common or like a house. It's not like a Padme and Anakin or something where like they're destined, and you think of one when you think of the other when you hear one of their names. I don't necessarily think of Asajj as a wife. I think of her as a lone wolf, anyways. So I don't really necessarily. It's like, man, I can't wait till they get back together. That's not the type of character I think Asajj is. I think Asajj works best as a tortured, lone, bounty hunter or Sith or Jedi who has really no purpose and kind of like is
but wouldn't some of that torture being that she cared for someone and she can't be with them?
But if the whole point is that you can't be with them, then I don't really necessarily need to show me that you can't be with them, because they already told me.
All right.
All right. You know what I mean? So like if she finds him and then he's like,
and she melts or something, starts melting in the ground.
What's gonna happen? That's the only interest there. Like, what is the application of the spell?
Yeah,
Other than that, I don't really care.
Make a good point. Make a good point.
I thought it was fascinating that you saw Obi-Wan, with Quinlan as
Quinlan,
lawyer, which makes me think that when in episode 3, when Padme's like, "Can't we ask Obi-Wan for help?" He probably would have helped.
Yeah.
Well, he would.
Like, he has a far better understanding, between Duchess Satine and what Quinlan was going through. He would probably have helped Anakin.
Yeah. Especially with Duchess Satine. Yeah,
that
that's
opening
true.
That opening was incredible, though. I mean, that was a very strong opening. I think that I think we're so overdue for seeing Asajj in live action. I don't know what it has to take, or what has to happen, but I think it's really overdue. We've gotten so many different projects. It's really surprising that we
didn't get Asajj, man. We need to get one. We definitely need to get a live action Asajj. I've been wanting it for the longest time, and again, if it's done well, they can sprinkle her in somewhere, and we might see it.
World Between Worlds, World Between Worlds,
right? Yeah. We could definitely see it, man. But I think all in all, like I said, these episodes were phenomenal. I love the Tales. I loved actually the Tales storyline. I mean, I love all three of them. I know that a lot of people didn't really like Tales of the Empire as much, but I loved it.
That was good. I loved it.
I love the Tales.
Great. Honestly, I think this was the weakest of the Tales series, and I still like this one.
Yeah.
So I think that even this one being the weakest to me was still great, and I hope they keep doing different Tales themes.
Yeah, true. Yeah, man. Like I said, I mean, we're getting some really good Star Wars right now, man. I'm so excited about it. We got, would have had more to talk about, but we'll, try to squeeze some of that in next week. Because, like I said, we talk next Tuesday, bro.
Next week is it.
You know what they need to do after they're done with this? After they're done, which they won't. I want somebody to do a cut where everything is spliced together, like it's just one long, going into the other. Like, I want to see something and I would watch the shit too. I really would. I would sit down and watch it where it's spliced together from season 1, season 2, all the way into Rogue One, just like that. Yeah, I would definitely watch it. I mean, we know it'd be a time jump, but just you could put a little exposition in between and just do that. I'd take that. I'm not.
And maybe some Rebels episodes.
Yeah. Because you know what I'm gonna do right after I get off here tonight? Go back and watch that damn scene so I can see what the fuck Bix did. Because this shit's bugging me now. It's
I think
really
it's right when she was talking to the. I think it happened more than once actually. I know once
when she was talking to the Force lady, right?
Yeah.
But
and I think another time when she walks in, she's like in the background, and then she comes in and she's talking to Cassian.
There's a scene. So I I know what he's talking about. There's a scene where she's looking at like a pregnancy test, and then it cuts to Ellie saying, "I'm going to be a dad." That it was deleted though. I just seen it.
I just can't help but think of a coworker of mine who her son's like now a year old. But when she was pregnant, she was sitting next to me and she was leaning back in her chair and she had her hands on her stomach. And I thought it was just like Taco Bell.
Yeah. See,
like,
that's
someone
what I was
say something about her being pregnant. I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking ask first. Like, I don't.
I mean, like, what if Bix just had to fart, bro? Like, I mean, what if that she has some bad food on? She's not used to that food on Yavin, bro.
Too many fruits on Yavin.
Yeah, maybe she had some of that spoiled fruit that the rest of that dumbass crew that had in episodes. What was it, episode 1 and 2?
I'm so glad we haven't seen them.
Who gets into the food? They don't even got doors.
No, they have nothing on that show.
How do you not have doors? All the mosquitoes and shit.
You know why I think it didn't have doors? Because it was supposed to look like a resort, but the surroundings were not supposed to match the anxiety they were feeling. Okay. So it was supposed to look like you're in Tahiti or you're on this great vacation. Right. What a beautiful planet this is.
It did look pretty nice though.
It looked nice, but I
comfortable as shit.
They got bugs.
They had to, bro. Like straight up,
no mosquitoes. I didn't see no mosquitoes or nothing.
But here's the thing. Explain to me this. You're there on Yavin, and they were there before. It was an occupation. Some stupid ass clan was there before. Did y'all kill those damn stray beasts that were around?
Somebody killed them. They're not there.
Yeah,
anymore,
man.
so.
Like, yeah, it's yeah. But
that's what is playing on the Hollow News. Is these rebels? They're culling the local creatures, the wildlife, to set up camp on these random planets. Like, will no one think of the giant like alien cows that they
it's on
they're killing off the indigenous inhabitants on this planet to take over. That's the way they'll probably spend
these rebels are stealing plots of land that should be developed for resorts.
Yep. The rebels are no better than the Empire.
Right.
Just urban camping, which is illegal.
They're trying to make Yavin into Club Med. Okay.
That's what they do. Club Med on Andor.
I'm still a little freaked out by that night that they had with the prophecy. Let's say the prophecy parts really scared the crud out of me, because it did remind me, as I said earlier, I know I'm repeating myself, it did remind me a lot of that famous religious figure. I'm not going to say who it is, because I'm going to go to hell for saying this anyway. But
there's a prophecy that's there that you have to continue with. You have to see it through regardless. You can't change its path.
That's right. And so like that night before, they know what's going to happen to them almost. I think that not only did she know what happened, but she didn't verbally say it for our purposes, but they're aware of what's going to happen, of what's upcoming. And it did remind me that I said, wow, that's very impactful, I think, for just the lore of Star Wars in a sense, because the whole Force, this whole thing is, as all of you had said about how everybody has a little bit of that inside of them. They know something's wrong, but to see it in face value, to know exactly what you're going to go through, it must be terrifying. And it's still like getting to me, and I love it. It's like, oh, it's bothering me. Oh, this is so good.
I love how cryptic that scene was, because there's so many different levels that you could read so many different things into it. And like at face value, they just wanted to heal up his injury, but she had so much to say without really saying much. Because at some part of it was like, what if she had a vision? She was like, wait, when you die, that ain't the chick you die with. Hugging at the end.
Oh my god, that's what I was thinking, bro. What if she knew, and part of her wanted to say, Bix.
That Force healer was like, "Yo,
you might want to check." Like, baby, you might want to check his phone.
You might.
Yo, check it. You gotta look at his data pad.
Look at his data pad. See where's look on it. Go on the ship. Look at his nav control, like his nav system. Where he been?
Cassie ain't gonna make it, girl.
Yeah, I see him on the beach.
Yeah, he's on to get more beach. Okay.
Girl, they on the beach.
Yeah. I wondered did he tell about the chick that he was with when he went to that damn planet that time, bro? Like,
we got about her
before he got arrested. Like, did you tell her about that? Yeah, I mean, but hold up though, but because Bix at the time was seeing someone as well.
Yeah, she was.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's I don't know. Anyway, man, like I said, we got next week. We got next Tuesday here, man. I'm excited and terrified as well. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I know it's not gonna happen, but if you speak it into the universe, it's a possibility to happen.
Maybe.
Please give me a hint of General Soul. I don't give a shit how you do it, but just give me a hint. Even if we see her on a screen, I'm good money.
I'm not watching them live. If I'm not watching them live, y'all, and Jen Urso is on this show, I'll know because Leo lives like a mile from me. I'll hear him. I'll hear screams coming from a mile that way.
You damn right.
You're gonna hear the screaming, and you're gonna be like, "I feel disturbance in the force."
The disturbance in the force.
I'm gonna get one of them night pigeons, put a note on them, cuckoo, and just my TV.
Oh my god.
That's it. You'll know.
It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be like the conclave. Like Vinny's just gonna look a mile away, like white smoke, and it means that Galen Urso is mentioned.
Yeah. Urso is in the. Oh my goodness.
It's black smoke. Nothing happened.
Listen, if it happens, I would be no more good. Neither will be the internet, bro. Because the internet will know.
Shouldn't she be with Saul Guerrero's crew right now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. You know, I know last week I had asked you guys, and I'm sorry for not knowing this, but I always got the impression, and I'm not sure that Saw had something to do with her upbringing. But I know you were saying he didn't, but however, when you see Saw and Jin together, you know that they're kind of tight because you can see. You know, there's like this.
Yeah. Well, so here's how I kind of tied it together, though, because remember when he found her, he was bald. We're seeing him with hair right now, like literally, right? It might be a little small detail, but it's important. The devil's in the details. He was bald when he found her, but then we're seeing. So it means that what did he said that she was 16 years old when he left her?
Yeah,
isn't that what she said?
Yeah.
So is she out there? Like we have to see some type of remnants or something. Like we have to know what's going on because they're shaping this up. And they say that it's going to directly tie into Rogue One. They got to hint at something, man. They
got to.
Like they have to. And I think
if you got K2SO, you got to have her somewhere. You got to.
Listen, come on, man. Mickelson didn't basically show up at Star Wars Celebration for no reason, just to basically interview, and then they release his figure, bro. They didn't.
Yeah,
it
wasn't
for
a role
no
that he
reason.
did what 8 years ago.
Yeah, bro. Like and again, knowing that this season was starting, like the following week. No, come on, bro. It wasn't for no reason.
It makes sense.
You know what I mean? We have to, and I'm thinking like even probably within these next couple of episodes, we're going to see them establishing or at least constructing the Death Star at this particular point. Getting into
even
like
when he was on stage, he even made reference to, for someone who's only in the movie for this amount of time, I'm here. So he was like hitting around, I was only in the movie for a little bit, but I'm here doing this. So that tells you
that lets you know that he's there for some fucking reason, bro. Come on, man. He better show up. And if he shows up, Jen Erso better show up, damn it. Straight up. Or there's going to be an extra therapy session.
And how do you feel at this lack of Jen Erso?
Straight up.
Well, Vinny, looking through his
hey, yo, Vinny gonna do me like he did like what 6 years ago. I'm gonna show up and knock on his door and be like, yo, nah, this ain't the right time, bro. Don't
there's gonna be a celebration where Leo meets Tony Gilroy. He's gonna be like, why was there no Jen Erso? He's gonna walk away like Cat Bane.
Because I didn't want her there. I don't know, man. I'm definitely hoping that we kind of get again. There's a lot they really have to establish though, in a sense, because again, are we going to pick up in a sense where Krennic has already, brought Galen back in, at that point, are we going to pick up at that point when he's brought her in and they're finalizing the Death Star at that point? They would have to almost, wouldn't they?
Oh yeah, no, he's already on Edu. Galen's already on Edu.
He's on Edu, right?
Working on. They're pretty much finished with it.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, so
yeah, we've seen the prison, with that cutscene at the end of that episode, and that looked pretty close to done. I mean,
yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and it was operational, like 3/4 of the way constructed in return. So I'm sure it's mostly operational by now, but we'll see.
Yeah. Now, and again, like I said, and don't get people's hopes up, because Gilroy already said, like he said, he's not trying to bring in Vader or Tarkin. He doesn't want to have.
I don't need to
those
see
type
them.
of cameos.
Don't
Nah, I
need
don't
to.
either.
Don't need it. Don't
Neither.
need it.
Me neither. But it would be good to see people who were affiliated with Rogue One, such as Galen. You know what I mean? And anybody else who had.
give me Galen, give me Bodhi, and give me what's his name? God damn it.
Chirrut.
They're on Jeddah.
Chirrut Gimway and you know what I mean? So but
Baze, give me Baze and
how would we see them though? But how would they
We're not
do
gonna see
that
them.
though?
Well, that's the thing. It's like at that time,
Hanging out on Jeddah somewhere.
Carrera should be on Jeddah, and if they go to Jeddah, well, Chirrut and Baze are on Jeddah and Jeddah City.
Yeah.
Man, if we see Donnie Yen, that's when you'll hear me.
You're Vinny screaming.
Yeah.
That's my dude.
Yeah, that is that. I don't know, man. I mean, yeah. Come on, stop.
And then Hot Toys will finally release the Baze Malbus.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Well, 10th anniversary.
And Cad Bane fucks.
It's canon.
Well, it definitely can.
Man, listen. Great.
No doubt about that.
Great show tonight. You know what's surprising? X, what you're saying, I'm surprised hasn't said the entire time. I'm so surprised you ain't said that shit. But anyway, thank you guys for being here. That's a great show. Exciting time. Uncle Keith, thank you for being here, man. As always, I appreciate it. I appreciate the background. As always, man. I'll put you in the main chat so you'll see when I put everybody when I put it there, bro. Sorry about that. So I'll definitely put you in the main chat.
All right.
You know what I mean? Thank you for being here as well. It's always a pleasure. You already know that. So good to see you as always. And everybody at the chat is excited to see you. X, you already know, man. Therapy session in about 12 hours. So, bro, thank you so much for being here as always. Vinny, you already know, man. Like, it's going down. Did she say it was next week?
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to go. Honestly, bro, I don't think we're going to New York. I don't think so. So we might be at the con.
All right.
I don't think we're going. To be quite
you don't think you're going to what? To New York?
Yeah, because remember she said that week, because when we talked about the con, she said that we were supposed to take. I don't know. I got to see because I don't know. I'm gonna talk to her. Maybe we are. We might push it a week. I got to find out from her. But if not, we'll definitely be at the con.
All right, cool. Yeah,
so
Fan Expo Philly. Anybody in the Philly area come through? Say what up.
Yeah, definitely. CC, so glad to have you back. Like literally, finally back. So good to have you back home. Like that is so good to have you back on the show. I know a lot of people are excited to have the team back here, man. And definitely we'll be back here next week to talk about the final 3 episodes. I mean, bring some tissues, y'all, because I think it's going to be some things that's going to happen here that they got to sign up some loose ends. So, all right, before we leave out,
I was going to say for the tissues, it's going to be because you're crying, not because.
Yeah, it's going to be because
because of Jen Urso.
Just to be aware.
You're going to be crying because of Jen Urso.
Yeah, I'll bring the tissues.
Tissues. Uh-oh.
Anyway,
Bring the
60,
tissues.
that's
Yes, bring the
fucked
shea
up.
butter. What?
That's really fucked up. Final thoughts. Who do you think, if you had any predictions, I'm gonna go around each one of y'all real quick. Any predictions, CC? Who do you think is gonna die next week?
oh gosh,
If you had to pick one person, who do you think is gonna die?
that's so difficult. I know, like from day one, we've said Luthen because, like, you know, we would know Luthen from and literally anything else. That's really tough. Like, I could see someone like Lonnie dying, maybe, or Belle, maybe. But I kind of like no one's getting a happy ending. But I also don't want it to mean that like all of these people die. It would be really cool to me if like Luthen pulls a Vinny and just bounces. And like he pulls like a Batman. Like someone's like Cassian's thanking him for everything he's done as he's like about to head off to like Jeddah or some shit, and then he just turns around and Luthen's gone.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Yep.
And like that's they just leave it mysterious and open ended like that. I think I'd love for a lot of these characters to be open ended. But who knows?
Interesting. Vinny, what you think, bro?
Cashin. Oh wait, no, I can't do the cash. It's tough because I would have said Zero. That seemed like that might have been where it went from their conversation from the beginning of the show to lead up to that. But obviously, it's Bix was the other writing on the wall character too, and it still might be like you guys said, she still might come back and that might even add more impact if Beck is right about her being pregnant, like double whammy there. So I don't know, but yeah, maybe Luthen to kind of fulfill his self-fulfilling prophecy, I guess. But I have no idea. I know better than to try to guess shit on this show because despite the fact it's almost a fixed timeline, they've surprised me numerous times. Despite it's a prequel, there's still so much that I've been taken aback by, which is refreshing. So no clue.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of tough. And that's the thing is when we're sitting here, we just don't know. Who will die, who will have an existence or occupation within the Empire itself. Deidre could, we don't know. Maybe she's just unseen. It's weird to say. Uncle Keith, what you think?
I think Cassian's gonna finish the deed on Deidre.
You think he's gonna actually kill her?
I think he's gonna finish it for her.
Yep. Tissues.
One way or the other, CC.
Rita, what you think?
I think it is going to be Dedra. I think that she's overconfident right now, and she honestly feels like no one would ever harm her or do anything wrong to her. And at least from my point of view, I feel like the people that guy who she was mentoring, or who was the other officer, she kind of is on the outside with him. She doesn't have anybody allies, although her boss seems to be her ally. I don't believe he's going to have her back when they decide that, this was not how we wanted the operation to run. And they might just get rid of her because they don't like how even though she's done a lot for them, I don't think she's going to get, if I say like the recognition she deserves for everything. It looks like a big, cock up, so to speak. But I think that she's just going to fall, and unfortunately, she's not going to be able to bounce back this one. She missed out on Andor the first time. Now she's missed out on him in the second time. I think that this will be something she might not be able to live down.
So you think that there's a level of overconfidence in her right now, but at the same time, regret?
I think she thinks she can go back to Coruscant and there won't be any repercussions, but I think there will be.
Because she did say that's where they were headed, back to Coruscant.
No, it's going to be some repercussions. You can believe that.
And And Luthen might be waiting. Luthen and Clea might be waiting there just for that moment.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
maybe.
shit.
Yeah, that's why
that.
Deidre's a good answer, because I highly doubt Luthen's just letting it slide just because shit went south there.
Yeah, exactly. Deidre's getting it.
It's a loose end, because they did say loose ends that need to be tied. I think Cassian said that as well.
Yeah.
Well, Cassian was aiming for her for a good portion of the episode, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, he had 2 shots, but he
had 2 damn shots too, bro.
2 shots.
Yep.
I do think that because, you know, at the beginning, I think it was like the first 3 episodes when Daedra when they're going back to ISB headquarters and she's telling her superior, she's like, I should be going after Axis. And he's like, Axis everywhere. All you see is Axis. And yet you haven't found Axis.
Yep.
And I think that's the thing that she's going to come back to is she's like, no, I need to find Axis. Her superiors probably won't want her to, and she'll probably go rogue, but she will track down Luthen at the gallery. She'll shoot Luthen. Clea will show up with like a grenade or something, and the whole place is just going to go up, and it'll clear out all the
no, they can't go up.
It'll clear out all the evidence.
She's like, nah, Padme's helmet was in there.
I hate to say this, man, but Press X is like making some sense there, man. They got to get rid of all the evidence, man. The cell has to be eliminated.
Damn, take out the collectibles though. Maybe move them to a different room or some shit like that.
Now you're thinking like a collector. Like, take
no,
I need those holocrons.
Oh man,
got to go.
Damn, that is some sense,
bro.
Yeah,
that's kind of
damn, bro. You pay too much attention.
You gotta yeah, you gotta wrap up those loose ends, man. You can't have 2 people who have vital information about the Rebel Alliance alive. You can't have that.
And if Clea realizes they've been compromised, and Daedra's there where all their communication stuff is, unless the stuff's already gone, which it probably isn't, then she's like, we can't let her find this. And if she's found us, then our part in this is done.
And like I said, and they're bringing Mon later to Yavin. Who's bringing Mon to Yavin?
Oh, well, we know.
Yes, we do know the ghost, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
where all the collectors stop watching is when they blow up Luthen's shop with the collectibles. See,
yeah, it's going.
That with the collectibles in it.
It's going. Maybe that's where Deidre gets it.
Well, here's the thing. You know what? The thing about it though is because we know it's going to be a time skip. I don't think we're going to actually see Mon Mothma arrive. We just know what was implied.
Okay.
I don't think we're going to definitely, because they're going to do a time skip.
Okay.
This next episode, by then she'll already be on Yavin.
And wasn't Mon, and correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't she kind of kept separate from a lot of people just in case there was an attack on Yavin or something like that? So she was like at a safe location for a certain period of time away from everyone, just in case.
Well, that's because we didn't see her on Yavin in Star Wars: A New Hope. We didn't at all.
Never. What happened is that they put her on a ship right after they launched the attack on the Death Star. They put her on a ship and got her off planet with like a bunch of intel, just in case it went south. So she had like a briefcase full of intel, and she was on a ship heading out.
And she also had some stuff from Luthen's shop. No, I'm just kidding.
Did she have Chopper? Did she have Chopper with her? Chopper was with her, wasn't he?
Murderbot.
Chopper.
Damn.
Who knows what Chopper was?
Anyway, man, thank you guys, everybody out there, for watching. This has been an incredible episode. Tune in next Thursday. We will be back for the full, discussion about, 10, 11, and 12 wrap up, man. I don't want to see it go, but I am excited for Tuesday. I cannot wait. Make sure that you subscribe to everybody's channel or Instagram that's on his page right now. Great content, man. Definitely appreciate y'all. Until next week, man, as always, stay uncivilized, stay happy, treat everybody with kindness. I'm not bringing a box of tissue now because CC done fucked that whole sentiment up, so I'm not doing that. So we'll talk to you guys.
Just look for the smoke. Just look for the smoke. Or the balloons.
Or balloon.
Toodles, everybody.
Peace out, man.
So uncivilized.